Welcome, everybody. Hi to all the replay viewers. We appreciate you guys taking your time out to tune in. So this is the Halley Quynh Show. We hop on live every single week talking about anything with healing, with self-love, with transformation, all the things in between. And of course, we're going to respond to those of you who've asked questions or requested a topic. So thank you, Michael Gabriel, for this question. This is a really good one. This is a really, really good one. Obviously, it pertains to, is intimacy worth the risk? So I'm hearing like relationship topics in this, and also like human connection that we all like need. You know, like it's something that we always, it's like a part of us to connect with another human being, you know? So there's intimacy in like vulnerability in the ways that we connect with people, and then also in like the loving way and in a romantic relationship way. That's what's coming up for me. So Halley, I always pass it on a little bit to you, but yeah, so what comes up for you when you think of, is intimacy worth the risk? Ooh.
Well, I want to just really acknowledge that it is a big risk. There's so much risk to allowing yourself to be seen in a vulnerable way, and seeing someone else in a vulnerable way and expressing connection and closeness and honest feelings, right? When I think about intimacy, I think about like the expression of honesty, and kind of the deeper layers that we don't always share with everyone. And I would say that yes and no. Like, honestly, like it's worth the risk. I think that it's important to ease in to intimacy. I think it's important to not try and rush it. Because if you're moving too fast or wanting to be intimate too fast or wanting to connect, or you feel really inspired to connect with someone because of their energy, or you're very attracted to them, but you don't really know them yet, you don't really know where they're at, you don't really know their baggage, you don't really know their wound stories, you know, like they might not be able to hold you as safely as you need to be held. And so you have to take your time, and you have to like kind of trust your own body in terms of what, like how safe it is to share what you're feeling inspired to share. And I think it's also important to really check your own projections. Like, I know that I've definitely gotten into this trap a lot, where I'll be attracted to someone, and so I want to paint them into this picture of like the person that I want them to be for me, and the person that I hope that they will be for me, and then I will engage with them from a fantasy, you know, like I'll project a fantasy onto them and then proceed to interact with them as if they are my fantasy, when they're not, you know, like I'm still getting to know this person. So I think like it's like proceed with caution, you know, and like take it slow, because when you feel like you've exposed yourself a lot, and then that other person isn't able to hold that safely or show up, or it like, you know, like there's something in them that they're like, oh, whoa. And then you have to like sit in that feeling of being rejected, and like the truth of you being rejected, you know, and maybe even your most beautiful parts being rejected. That's a whole thing that you have to then like recover from, and then you kind of get a little damaged, and then, you know, so yeah, that's been my experience and how I feel about doing intimacy.
Oh my gosh, 1,000% everything you said. Like, number one thing that came up for me is worth the risk when you feel it's not risky anymore. When you actually feel like it's safe, and I'm like, wow, I can really trust this person. I can really feel that they have the space to hear me and understand me. Because when we get intimate with someone, we're getting vulnerable and we're sharing our truths, and our truths can be ugly. Our truths could be something shameful that we did. And I just want to talk about like body intimacy, and the physical aspect of getting intimate with someone. It could be like cuddling, it could be sex, it could be making out. And in my experience, once that happens, I'm already attached. Yes. And I'm already like exposed myself in such an intimate physical way that I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope that this person values what I just like shared with them. Yeah. Right? And then that's how we feel so rejected in such a most like painful way. Like, I know that we all have felt that. Whatever it looks like, it feels the same, where it's like your heart just feels like someone just completely disrespected it, and you're almost in disbelief that like, wow, I cannot believe that I just did this, and this person, what I'm seeing is that they don't value it or they don't honor it. And now it's something that you need to heal from now. And so yeah, it's worth the risk when you feel like it's not risky anymore. The reason why you feel like it's so risky because you're not sure. And so I love how you said everything about like, okay, like take your time getting to know this person, and check if they actually have the space for you. And also when you said about like rushing, why is it that we feel like we need to rush into being so intimate so fast with somebody? Is it because it's from a place of emptiness? Is it because we've been craving this intimacy with each and every person that we find attractive, or like the projection, right? You're already like, ooh, this person totally like looks like the person I'm supposed to be with. and then we rush it, and you guys know me. In my experience, I've rushed so many times, and like, man, I've asked the wrong questions. I was looking for the wrong things. And it's because I was already like looking to fill a void. So I just want to highlight that too, like the fast thing, like, ooh.
Well, and I think too, there's something about jumping in really fast where you're kind of actually not risking true intimacy. There's something like I love when, like the true, like I've heard just like seen quotes and stuff about like the true risk is like really allowing yourself to be loved. Like being like choosing someone available is like actually the risk, because then you're opening yourself up to real intimacy. And so there's something about like fast sex that where you're not really like having to like really invest, and at the same time, like those like connection chemicals of the body are already forming. So like attachment forms in a place where there isn't trust yet. And that's like not a fun place to be, attached but not in trust.
Ooh.
Like those need to like move
I've been there.
Together.
Yeah.
And that's what true intimacy is. It's like your attachment and your trust are like at the same level with one another, and there's a feedback loop between the two people, and there's like mutual willingness.
Yeah.
Like that's where true intimacy is able to happen.
Yes, man. I love it that you brought that up, because it made me think of words and actions, someone can say something that sounds so good, right? But what she was saying about like taking it slow and then having things be in alignment when you're moving along with this person, and the trust and like the attachment, like what just came up to me was like watching if they're in alignment with themselves, like how they show up every single time, or majority of the time, how alignment are they with themselves, because that's where the trust is. And if we're not looking out for that, then we're already jumping in blindly and just like canceling everything out that's like red flag, and just like staying by them until completely,
Yeah. And it takes time to witness and experience like someone's alignment, someone's internal alignment,
Yes. Let's see. Eva, hey girl, says yeah, and it's not the other person's fault, but up to us to go at our own pace and make our own choices and decisions, not go blindly and then be mad. Yes, girl. Oh, hey, Gina. Yeah, for sure. Because people are going to be themselves, you know? They're going to be themselves, and it's up to us to have the ability to recognize the important things that we need to watch out for. Like for myself, if I'm going to meet people, you know, and like establish some sort of like connection, I'm always looking for the ways that, yes, how they align with their words, and also being mindful of how they take care of their own emotions. Because if not, then oftentimes that's where pain projection happens, right? And that's when I've experienced things in friendships and relationships that end up going like bad. And and then it becomes this relationship where you're unable to talk about things safely, and then that's where like the arguments happen. So I'm avoiding being in a situation where there's pain projection that could easily happen, and someone that's not willing to take responsibility for their own stuff, and where we can come together and like talk like with an adult conversation. And when those things are unable to happen, that's when breakups happen. That's where arguments and disconnection happens, and it's not love, and the intimacy is bye. Yeah.
I want to reflect too on what Eva said. Like, it's really up to us to take our own personal responsibility for our own experience, and also to recognize and know our own patterns of behavior. Like for me, one that I've really had to see and understand is that like having kind of a healing orientation, and like working as a healer, and like really loving to like love people into their own like wholeness, you know, and like being a support person. I have found myself in romantic attraction with people who were like really in a wounded place, and I've just wanted to like mama bird that wounded area of them, and like love them into not being wounded anymore. But like when you're in a really wounded place, you can't really give. And so then I'm like putting the love out and then not really receiving, and then that's like such a painful place to be. So I had to really look at that behavior and really decide that like I'm looking to love people who are like well on their healing journey, and like actively working on like their own wholeness, and aren't like in like a severely wounded place, you know?
Oh man. Yeah, for sure. And so and I was going to say, right, it all starts with ourselves, to be able to recognize these things that are important for us, to know if this is a safe person, if this is somewhere where like I can trust this person and be intimate with them, and then not be rejected, and they can actually have the capacity and the space to hold it. And again, it goes into like the healing thing, because how can you have space if there's not any kind of healing practice that they have? It's not their lifestyle to heal. It's not in their lifestyle to self-care, to self-love for themselves, you know? Like, where is the space for the love and to hold it and be just ultimately a safe space? I mean, we keep on going back to safe space, because that's really that. And we got to start with us to even recognize what that even looks like, so we can recognize it in people if they are that for us. So yeah, you guys, is intimacy worth the risk? I love that yes and no, because when you experience a safe person, when you experience someone being able to actually see you, recognize you, understand you, and hold space for you to be you and be loving all this, it feels great. You're finding true human connection that where you can trust and literally like be yourself, and share all the things. So yeah, it's worth it to experience. However, when you have done your own inner work to maybe be able to recognize that outwardly, and attract the people that you're meant to be in your life, meant to connect with. But yeah, if it feels risky, maybe take it slow. Continue to work on yourself so you can recognize things that you need to recognize and make sure it's safe.
I think one of the things too is to like learn within yourself if you have an easier time giving or an easier time receiving. Like which one comes more naturally, and to start cultivating the opposite, you know? So for, like, I can really only speak for the, like, overgiver side of things.
Yeah. Well,
like,
I think because all of us, so yeah, you're speaking for
a lot of people, right? The people that are, like, the givers. And then there's, like, the takers.
Oh, yeah, there's that too.
Right?
Yeah.
So, like, the givers need to really learn how to receive. And you, like, don't, and, like, you receive through just, like, holding back. You know? Like, giving has, like, a forward, you know? Like, hey. And receiving is just, like, being. Receiving is just being. And then, like, when someone wants to give to you, like, really, like, taking that in and absorbing it and, like, allowing yourself to receive love in the ways that it comes through. And if you found yourself more in, like, the taking role in relationships, you know, then, and you want to be in healthy relationship, then, you know, work on giving more of yourself and giving more of your words and giving more of your affection and giving more of your time. So yeah, that also just came through.
Awesome. Chelsea, sister, I'm a giver, right? We are all givers, and we got to look out the opposite side. And really, man, it really comes down to learning who you are and learning and really seeing where you actually are, you know, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, all of that, in order to make the best decisions for ourselves, so we don't end up in a place where we're feeling rejected, disrespected, and abandoned, and all the things, right? All right, guys, that's a talk for today. It was so good. Oh, so good. All right, guys, feel free to share this out if you feel this can offer some value to your community. And follow us on our Self-Love Exodus page. I tagged it up there. We have 4 spots left to our workshop called Self-Trust. Hey, that's kind of in alignment of our talk here, Self-Trust.
Yep.
All right, guys, if you guys have any questions, let us know. And yeah, any questions you guys have, we will respond in a live form like this so we can really discuss it. All right, guys. Toodles.